What's up, guys? William here from fitnessforbackpain.com. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode here on my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. I'm all about teaching chronic back pain sufferers how to overcome their pain through mastering their mindset, improving their movements, and building smart strength. So if that is you, you're in the right place. Now, today we're going to talk about Dr. Stuart McGill's Big 3. These are the Big 3 exercises, Big 3 core training exercises that are given a ton of weight in the back pain space. If you do not know who Stuart McGill is, check him out. He's got lots of books that you can dive into, like this one, and this one. Now, I'm in no way affiliated with Stuart McGill's McGill method. I'm just a user. I'm an experienced person who has used all aspects of the McGill method for myself. I've never seen a master clinician of the McGill method. I think it's not necessary, but if you want to dive into his strategy and the way he looks at things, go pick up his books. To make it super easy, I'll link the books that I just showed with you here below in the description box. So we're gonna talk about the McGill Big 3. Now, what those are, 3 key core training exercises that Stuart McGill preaches are the best for low back pain sufferers. Now, those are the McGill Crunch or the McGill Curl Up. They are the side plank and the bird dog. Now, what I want to give you today is just my personal experience. This is from a user, not just, oh, this is a great guy, he's a back pain person, and we should just listen to him because he's Stuart McGill. Like, I don't want to go down that road. I want to give you a real testament, a real review of whether or not the McGill Big 3 core exercises are good for you. Now, I'm gonna break this down by pros and cons because I'm actually a big fan of some aspects of what McGill preaches. In fact, I'm a big proponent of core training. Not that core training is the healing aspect of back pain or that in order to beat back pain, you have to have a stronger core. I'm a little bit different when it comes to the angle of core training and back pain that I take, right? I take more of a coordination approach. I take more of a mind-body connection while doing certain exercises. That is my factor. So I don't have a Big 3. And I preach core training, I preach back pain all the time, and I don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 key core exercises that I think you should do every single day. Because honestly, it's really hard to do that. So a little backstory, when I first ruptured my L5-S1 disc and I said, you know what, I'm not gonna be fused, I don't wanna have pain management, I don't wanna have shots, I canceled all that stuff and said, I'm gonna do it by myself. Once I went off on that trail, I stumbled upon the McGill method. I stumbled upon the Big 3. Bought all his books, started reading, educating myself, and I started putting to work the McGill Big 3. Immediately, I started having issues. I couldn't shake the things that I was experiencing. I couldn't figure out what the issue was. Being a fitness professional in the field for 12 plus years, I couldn't navigate why they weren't fitting my specific situation. So that led me to reach out to them, trying to get one-on-one time with them, but who has $400 an hour to pay someone to show you how to do core exercises? I don't. So in light of this video, let's talk about the cons first. One issue that I have with this is that I've kind of alluded to it, is putting a label on any group of exercises as the best exercises for back pain sufferers. I personally don't think that that is possible. I don't think that it's true. I don't think that it's good for someone who is actually struggling with chronic back pain and they are at the mercy of the YouTube video that they fall on to say these 3 exercises. It's like going on YouTube and searching low back pain stretches and you find some yoga instructor with her eyes all rolled back doing some stupid pose thinking that that's gonna be the best for low back pain. So as a back pain sufferer who comes in and looks at these 3 exercises and says, you know what, okay, let's do them. And you do the McGill Crunch and you just can't figure this stupid exercise out. It's not working for you. You can't get your hands right. You can't get your chin right. You can't get all the things together right to experience the freedom that you're looking for. So you move on, you go to the side plank, that works out pretty good. Then you go to the bird dog. Me personally, a part of this con, and this is actually con number 2, is the McGill Crunch and the bird dog didn't work for me at all. I can do them now with no problem, but in my season of life where I was super sensitive, those 2 exercises I could not figure out. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without having a flare-up, having some kind of experience of pain, tension, tightness in my low back. Now, I was flexion and extension intolerant. So the bird dog, if done poorly, you're gonna get a lot of low back extension. And I know that now, and I've coached that in videos here on YouTube on how to break down the bird dog to do it correctly. But at that season of life when I was super sensitive, despite what I knew, despite the modifications I was making, it just didn't work for me. So I was super frustrated because here I am trying to do the McGill Big 3, the biggest core exercises for the back pain sufferer, and they weren't working. If you're faced with that situation, what in the world do you do? Not only are you limited, or you feel limited, for the uneducated person, you feel limited to only these 3 back pain specific core exercises, but once they stop working, what do? Are you building self-efficacy in these people saying, hey, you know what? There's other core exercises out there. Or are you saying, no, we have to buckle down and get these down, figure these things out for you? What are you gonna do? Now, the third con, and this is my personal experience, and this is how it's more the way that I take core training, it's all surrounding core coordination. That's the term I like to use, whether I'm right or wrong to the scientific people. I could give 2 S's, but core coordination is what I'm a big fan of, right? It's learning to brace the trunk, it's learning to engage that pelvic floor, to breathe while you're able to do this, as well as move and do the activity that you're wanting to do. I think the McGill Big 3 is light on the core coordination aspect of core training. If you can understand the coordination behind core training and movement and breathing and how everything functions together, especially after a major situation like protecting yourself from years and years and years of chronic back pain, or protecting yourself from a major spinal surgery such as a fusion or any kind of disc repair, that's a big deal. And the mind-body connection when it comes to this is a big part of overcoming persistent long-term back pain. Those are my 3 cons when it comes to the McGill method and how it can be tough for someone with low back pain to really get an idea of what they should do going forward if they come into these roadblocks, and also having some things just left out. Now, let's talk about the 3 pros of the Big 3. So the first pro to the McGill Big 3 is the focus on understanding the fundamentals of core bracing. I love it, I love it, I love it. I think it's super important to understand what a brace is, how the body uses functional core strength, and what the core and the trunk actually do for the spine, how it protects the spine, how it builds more powerful movement as an athlete. So I think his fundamental starting point of core development is spot on. I'm a huge fan of it, and I think if I wouldn't have been introduced to training the core a very specific way, I don't know if I'd be where I'm at today. The second pro to the McGill method in the Big 3 is his approach to the neutral spine, right? Now, he does take an aggressive neutral spine stance where he believes that every movement for the most part should be done with a perfectly neutral spine, and that's gonna protect the disc from popping out and blowing up. Now, at first, when I first started to rehab my low back, a neutral spine was super important to me, and it was what I preached, it was what I tried to maintain. But as I became more and more desensitized, I introduced more flexion, more spinal flexion, more extension into my routine so that I can build that robust movement spectrum that your spine actually has. So the pro to that is I love the fact that he starts with a neutral spine, and it's super important whether you're going through the bird dog, whether you're going through the McGill crunch, the side plank. He preaches finding and maintaining a neutral spine during these exercises. And the third pro, overall, I think the McGill method is super powerful. I think if you are starting out with a sensitive low back, you've been dealing with doctors and providers and physicians for years and years, and you can't beat it, I think personally the McGill method and the Big 3 structure to back pain relief is one of the best starting points for someone to go with. Yes, there's got some variables in there that I don't necessarily agree with. There's a lot more to back pain than just mechanical. It's not just about movement. It's just not just about stability and strength and all that. There's a bigger part of the back pain relief puzzle that you have to know, and the McGill method does not go over that. But from a starting point, if you want to find somewhere to start, I think the McGill Big 3, the McGill method as a whole is a great place to start. I will say, keep your mind open though. Keep searching, understand your pain system, understand self-efficacy, how strong you are, how capable you are, and how not fragile you are. Once you kind of get that basis, learn how the body responds to pain. The mind-body connection is huge, and the McGill method doesn't really focus a whole lot on that. So that is my take on the McGill Big 3, whether you should use it, should you not use it, the pros and cons. I hope that was helpful for you. I'd love to know your experience with the McGill Big 3. Do you have an issue with the bird dog? Do you have an issue with the McGill crunch, the McGill curl up? Do you have an issue with the side plank? Let me know in the comment section below what you have struggled with the most when it comes to navigating the Big 3 or navigating the McGill method as a whole. I'd love to have a conversation with you. And once again, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.